And if we can manage to paint a little bit with you guys tonight, it'd be a good time.
All right. I just asked them if they could hear us, but no one said anything yet.
Okay, no responses?
Not yet, yeah. Someone just said good night, everyone, so I don't know what that means.
Could be just a bit of a delay.
They said they still can't hear us, dog.
Still can't hear us.
What? Okay, they can hear. Okay,
who can they hear?
They can hear you.
They can hear me?
Yeah.
But they, okay, so maybe, but then they wouldn't even know if you're talking or not, right?
Yeah, I messaged in the chat, that's why I asked.
Okay, let us know if you can hear May, our assistant. Can you hear?
Hello, I'm speaking.
So.
Yeah, okay, they can, okay, I think they can hear us now.
Nice.
Okay.
Okay, man,
right.
what a day. So
Okay.
yeah, we've had just a whole bunch of things. So as I was saying earlier, we had originally planned on doing this live training for a photo shoot session, and then Kevin got sick, and so Matt and I are thinking, well, maybe we can still go live and just paint with you guys and have a good time. And so this is a painting that I have here that it's actually been sitting on my easel for a while. It's a painting of my sister. It's in a very awkward stage, but hopefully we just have a good time painting together and yeah, just enjoying painting and connecting. Happy to answer any of your questions at all. But yeah, as you were saying, it's just been a whole bunch of change, things suddenly not working that usually work, and having to just figure all that out. And you may even see some bit of an odd video feed today, and it's going to be what it's going to be tonight. And hopefully you don't mind. And also, as you can see on the palette here, I haven't even been able to get my colors mixed yet. So, and I actually don't even really know what I'm going to do completely on this painting yet. So we're just going to figure this out. So you're going to watch me mix my colors. Hopefully that's interesting. And so right here, we'll show it on this screen. I have this old palette that is now bone dry. Oops, it's not bone dry. So yeah, there's just a little bit of a dry film, and I just got yellow paint on myself. So this is the palette that I had used to paint these shadows on this side of the face. You can see like I've been kind of painted this side a little more refined, and then over here you can see there's my sketch underneath and a preliminary first pass. This was my second pass going in, and so now I have to actually match these colors pretty much spot on, because I have all this nice monochrome color here, and then I had to stop painting right as I got around to the mouth, and I want to have the same colors to do that, and really just going to be kind of approaching this from a more monochrome perspective, more or less. So I'll be using this as my base to match these colors, and as you can see, I'm using the Old Holland paint that we send you guys in the Evolve program. So just going to start out with my titanium white. Now the way that I like to set up my palette is based on temperature shifts. So I put my titanium white on the side and then Naples yellow on the side here too. So these are lightening agents, and essentially how this works is if I add white into any one of these colors, it's going to make it lighter in value, but it's also going to make the color slightly cooler. And if I add this Naples yellow, it will make the color that's here lighter, but will also make that color warmer. And so I have both of these on the side here so that I can kind of think in terms of my warms and cools as I'm mixing my colors. I just find that's nice and easy. And then from there, I kind of just make a rainbow. I'm not too concerned about which paint I grab here on this side. Kevin might be frowning on me for doing that, but I tend to be okay regardless of which one goes down and where. But generally speaking, it's a rainbow. For those of you who are not aware of what Evolve Artist is all about, we are a training program. We help artists get to pro level skills in about 12 months or, a year. Really, it's 350 hours. It's a self-paced program. Most of our students will go through it in about a year. But it's really 750 hours, however you want to block out that time. And we'll get you to pro level skills to make really awesome professional level work, teaching you the fundamentals of painting. It's really cool because we focus on things like values, edges, color, and really based on the light and shadow. And so through that, you can paint all kinds of different subjects. You don't have to be an expert on painting faces or eyeballs or noses or nostrils or pimples. You just know how to paint values, edges, and color based on light and shadow. And you have a really clear process of how to paint those values, edges, and color. And then you can make any painting that you want to.
Mm-hmm.
So,
all right, we have one question so
Great.
far. Edie's asking if you can make the color lighter but warmer by adding lead white.
well, it would. I mean, it's all relative, right? So it depends on what color you're using. But like, if you're comparing lead white to titanium white, actually, I'm not enough of an expert to know the differences between the whites. But everything is relative to each other. So, but generally speaking, it's going to be cooler if it's just a white versus something that's, like Naples yellow.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I've got all that set up. I've got my handy dandy palette knife, and then I've got my palette over here, my old one. So I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see the colors I want to mix. Would it help if I tape this up to the easel for everyone, do you think?
I think it's zoomed in a little too far at the moment. But if you could hold it up to that camera, the one you're facing.
Well, I'd like to mix the colors and focus on that. So
Okay.
let me grab, why not? Since this might take a while, I'm going to grab some tape. This is not going to be like a quick 5-minute thing. This will probably be a little bit more. I'm pretty particular about mixing my colors, and especially for this, again, because those colors are already there. So hopefully this will stay up. Kind of MacGyvering things today.
Do you want me to pull that camera back a little bit so it's zoomed out?
Sure.
Okay. Be right back with you guys. It doesn't seem too hectic today.
So this very well might just be straight up English red. I tend to, which I know already, I'm going to need some more of that. So I'm going to just drop this off. Where do I want this? What did I have going on before? Some really colorful colors. Where did they come from? This was definitely my darkest shadow, my mid-tone, and then my lighter shadow. Maybe that's all I had mixed that day. So I'm going to put them over here. Let's do it right here. So we're going to do a bunch. This will be my base, and then I'll create mixtures from there. Okay, so just going to get some on my palette knife. Okay, so it looks like I did darken this one way or another. So I can't use the straight Mars red. We're going to add, looks like, looking in the past, it looks like I used quite a bit of blue to darken some of these things. And also a bit of this crap black Donker Extra, it's called. Such a funny name. So I don't want to, well, yeah, don't want to contaminate my paint. So I've got my paper towel. I'm going to wipe off that English red. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I'm just going to start splitting this up in advance.
People are saying that your sister is very pretty and looks very happy. So.
Yeah. This was actually a photo that was taken a while ago. And when I was just a young lad. And I had my first DSLR. And I think it was like a random fall day. I just really wanted to take photos of her. So I did. And it was a blast. I gave her an axe and like a lumberjack hat.
Nice.
She had ended up taking them off, and we just ended up having a lot of fun.
That's nice.
And actually, if she sees this, she actually doesn't even know that I've been slowly working on this painting. And if she sees this, she's actually will probably be a little upset with me, because she has been trying to get me to. I'm just going to steal all this. She's been trying to get me to paint the Eiffel Tower for her. Oh. And I keep not wanting to.
I mean, yeah, it's a lot of spindly metal.
Yeah.
Tough. Lots of linear shapes.
Yeah.
Decidedly uncomfortable.
I'd much rather paint her face. Actually, I believe this, well, the painting's not there anymore, but I believe it was in an ad, that painting. One of the ads that we did back in Easter. Mm-hmm. So I'll just keep going back to that. I'm gonna add some crap black. It's basically alizarin crimson. Mm-hmm. It sounds weird to say crap black Donker Extra. And this, you can see this English red is a lot of these colors really have strong tinting strength. So the English red is really overpowering everything I'm throwing at this. So I might have too much English red in here, and I might be wasting a little bit of my paint, but here we are, having a grand old time. Also, let me know how you guys are feeling today. All right, this is still needs, we're getting there. I don't think we're gonna need this much though, so I'm gonna make my job easier. And I'll put that over there. Might need that later. Can add some more blue, and I'll steal more of this red. Feels so nice just to like mix paint.
Yeah.
It's a really nice way to kind of calm yourself down even before you approach the painting. Mm-hmm. This Old Holland paint's got such a nice, dense, luxurious feel to it, as they say. We're getting close. So I'm thinking this could get a little cooler. I don't know if you guys can see that, but this is looking a bit dull and orange compared to what's here. And I'm starting to notice that this could belong in there. So let's do that.
All right, Edie is saying that she feels gray and, well, she feels gray. It's a little dreary in New York City, so not happy but not sad either. Rhiannon is asking if there's a color for confused. Would that be tie-dyed? I feel like that's cheating because that's multiple colors, but I understand the vibe.
Yeah.
Barbie says she's feeling great. She just finished Carly, the last painting on Block 4. Congratulations.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah. Eric
so
says...
you're moving on to
yep.
Block 5 then?
Yeah, let us know if you're moving on to Block 5. Eric says he's feeling great. He learned a lot this week, so he's a bit tired, but there are new beginnings coming soon. It's great to
New
hear.
beginnings. Oh, wait, is that our friend Eric who likes the color green?
Yes, I believe so.
Did he tell us what green
Eric
he's feeling
Hunt.
today?
Not yet.
Okay.
Probably a really bright one.
Let
I
us
think
know.
I'm gonna throw up the color chart for everyone.
Could it be this green or
Oh,
this
wait.
green?
Wait. Okay. It's kind of hard following the cameras because like both of them look like palettes. So,
Oh, that's right.
and also
yeah,
I'm
this
on like
green.
2 different computers, so like
So
it's okay.
here are the greens that you could choose from, Eric. Pollen green, permanent green, deep. What was I going for? Sky.
Eric said it's sap green.
Sap green.
Let's see. There are so many. Okay, that's a lot. Looking for it. I don't see it on the chart,
It might not be,
but
but it's
I'm
a.
going to trust that you're in a good mood, and I'm happy for you.
Could it be that there's a little bit of Naples yellow in here? Could it be?
Could it be?
Could it be? I wonder. I'm a little hesitant to do that because even Naples yellow will start to strip some of the color away.
Mm-hmm.
And as you can see, I am in no rush today. Been doing a lot of rushing today.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm looking forward to getting a nice relaxing session out of this.
Angela says she's doing great. She just finished the 5th assignment in block 1. Congratulations.
Nice. That's great. Oh, I think there's some Naples yellow in here. I'm surprised I did that. Yeah. This mixture is getting pretty chunky, I will say, for such a small painting. But hopefully I can repurpose it in many different ways.
Yeah. Or you could take some and mix it into another color and stuff.
Yeah.
Kim says she's doing good. She's been working on part 15 of block 6. Sweet.
Got a lot of students in here today.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, there we go. That's pretty good. I don't know
Nice.
about you guys, but I am not seeing much of a difference there. Be curious to kind of crack this open, but shoot, why not? Oh, maybe not. Oh yeah, this is dry. So finding out what the actual color is. Now, the other thing is that there could be a little bit of blue. I'm not sure, because sometimes when the paint dries, it will put a little bit of a grayish film on top of it.
Right.
So I'm not sure. I'm going to take a hunch and say I didn't. We'll see how that goes. So we'll leave that. That should be well enough in the ballpark.
You just added some Naples yellow, right?
I did.
Yeah. Rhiannon wanted to clarify. Naples yellow.
Okay, what's next? Let's do this shadow here. What do you guys think? Any recommendations on what I should add based on the colors I've been working with so far? So far, I've been using these colors, and I'm going to start off with the blue. This is going to plunge the value.
People are enjoying watching you mix colors.
Nice. That's nice. Man, this is a lot of English red. So I'm gonna reverse my strategy here. Watch this. Put that over there. I'm gonna start with blue. I think it's gonna be a faster process because the English red has such a high tinting strength. And I don't want to keep wasting all my paint. So I'm going to start with blue. And just for kicks, let's compare. Okay, so it needs to be lighter in value and much more red. Surprise, surprise.
Okay.
But let's start with this one.
All right, so what are you trying to match exactly, like in the painting?
In the painting,
Yeah.
the reference doesn't really show it. You would see it in the painting if it was visible, but
I promise.
yeah, it's the darkest shadow in my painting so far, and obviously it's not very dark at all.
So like behind her hair, like in her hair, behind her face.
Yeah, like
kind
tucked in on. There's like a shadow here, and even into her eye. Okay, so now you just noticed maybe this got even darker than it was before. How fascinating. And it's purple. So we just made purple because, actually, let us know in the chat, why do you think we just made purple? The answer is not only because I mixed blue and red. There's a more sophisticated answer. So let me hear your thoughts.
Pop quiz.
Pop quiz. And I had no qualms about adding it because I knew it needed to be a little, the color in the end would needed to have a little bit of this. So I'm now going to just take a little bit of this previously mixed English red basically. And let's start with just a little bit because I don't want to go overboard here.
Rhiannon is suggesting adding burnt umber, question mark, but.
Well, there's no burnt umber on my palette before, so there's no use in adding new colors for now. Wow, look at that. So much closer than if I had gone the long way around. So still need to elevate my value, and it still needs to be more red, which is absolutely marvelous because I've got a lot of red at my disposal. The answers on the purple combination?
Rhiannon said because it tames the yellows. I don't think there are that many yellows though.
There's no yellows in here yet.
Eric said complementary colors make for a more balanced painting.
Quite.
It's more of like
Not the answer I'm looking for, I should say. That's not a wrong statement. All right, that's looking pretty good too. Let's crack this open and see what the color is underneath.
What?
That was interesting. Just peeled this whole chunk of paint off.
Oh my gosh.
Probably shouldn't let this thing explode, but I'm very curious now. Some undertones of purple, I see.
Yeah. The question was, why did we use purple
The question was,
for?
no, the question was, how did I make purple using the blue and the red? Like, why is it that? I guess it's not a good question. Let me just explain what I was intending to say. I've been trying to keep you guys engaged or whatever, but that didn't really work.
I can talk a bit if you want.
You're right.
Help.
Well, so anyways, what happened there was, so it comes back to temperatures, right? If you look at this palette, I have multiples of the same color, like same basic color, right? Like I've got 2 greens, I've got 2 blues, I've got 3 reds, I have 2 yellows, and so there's different options within my colors to lean one direction or another. And the direction that I would lean in is the temperature. And in the book by, actually I forgot his name, but the book about blue and yellow, don't make green.
Maybe.
That guy, his whole like approach to this was that there's not 3 primary colors when it comes to mixing paint, but there's actually 6 because there's cool and warm versions of each color. So if I was going to take like this warm red and mix it with this warm blue, I won't get purple. I'll get brown. Mm-hmm. And well, we would see that in a second, but we may as well just do this right here.
Yep. All right. Someone just asked, what do you mix in order to get her skin tone? So basically...
Well, I'm doing it right now.
Yeah. If you pay a little bit of attention right now, you can see it get done in real time. But basically, like, in general, all skin tones are... There's, like, no preset formula for mixing skin tones because ultimately everything is a different color based on, like, the inherent chemical composition of the object and how it interacts with the very specific environment and light of the environment of the light around it. It's just like general colors and reflections of stuff that happens to be around it, the amount of light in the area, etc. So there's no such thing as really a skin tone. It's just a color that happens to exist in a space in a very specific situation. So don't think of it in terms of skin tones, just think of it in terms of colors, and everything is essentially the same because everything you see is a chemical compound existing in an environment with light of a very specific type. So, very brief synopsis. But yeah, in this situation, Daniel's using mostly ultramarine blue, like a darker blue, English red. I think he's putting them out on the palette right now, so wait. Yeah, so there's 3 shades of red in there and some Naples yellow as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but that's very specific for this exact photograph of this exact person, of this exact lighting situation, and so
Right.
It's not like a rule of thumb to just go forward with for every single person you happen to paint.
Right, and I would suppose that in terms of temperature, this is like what the progression looks like. So this is a very warm red, mm-hmm. and then this red it's obviously very red. It's a very red, mm-hmm. if I can say that. But I just added a little bit of this to this mixture to just, it didn't really change anything except it just made it slightly more purple, slightly cooler. Mm-hmm. And I'm not thinking purple, I'm thinking like cooler because I want this to be relatively cool compared to this. I don't just want this to be a darker version. I actually want this to be slightly cooler as you're tucking into the shadows. This is a cool red as well. This is, you could say, is a neutral. But this one is cool, at least, again, relative to each other. And then this is my cool blue. So cool and cool makes purple, which you saw earlier. If I did this, I would get like kind of like a lightish gray purple. And then if I did this,
brownish purple.
Get like an ugly brown.
Yeah.
I normally don't mix these 2 together. Oh, actually, we just did a moment ago. We got brown. Yeah. There we go.
But yeah, it's a brownish purple.
And then you can see here when I mixed a warm blue with my warm red, which is this combination, you can see I'm getting like this brownish green combination. Mm-hmm. And so the temperatures or the colors that you're using, they really matter when you're mixing your colors. If you want to get really nice accuracy, which is, again, is what I'm going for this spot. Okay, so now I've got a whole bunch of stuffings here. So again, I'm going to follow my same approach. Mm-hmm. Did you have a question?
Edie's asking, what percentage of your sketches make it into the final paintings?
Sketches?
I guess it depends. So I would say, assuming that sketches mean like original like concepts, then like it really depends on like your train of thought as you were developing the sketches. Usually for every work, it's like 3 to 4 sketches. You kind of have one idea with a specific subject in mind, and you kind of like take it from different perspectives. You adjust the lighting in different ways to kind of see how the different elements play against each other. So then that really depends. Usually you kind of settle on one composition, and then like through the photo shoot and reference creation process, it gets a lot more specific. But it should still resemble your original sketch if that's what you really like. If by sketch you mean transfer, then usually by the end of the painting you don't see any of the transfer. You paint over it in stages. Unless, of course, you kind of intend to keep the texture of like semi-transparent paint with visible transfer. But yeah, it really depends on what your intentions are in the like concept creation process, and then or in the painting application process. Hopefully that makes sense. I tried to answer like the question as if you asked it in two different ways. Oh, sketches in your sketchbook. So I guess the first part, like the concept sketches, I don't keep a sketchbook, but I think that's what you mean. So yeah, it really depends on what your intentions are with the specific piece you're working on, the specific idea you have.
And Kevin says when you're in that creation process, not to get married to that initial inspiration or that initial sketch that you did. He believes that most of the time the very first inspiration is typically your worst composition.
Yeah.
And so he recommends that you just be a little bit more thoughtful about that. I'm going to add a little bit of this neutral red to again bring in that subtle purple. So yeah, if you have an inspiration, then what you can do is you make little thumbnail sketches, and in those thumbnail sketches, like if you have like a, you can do it digitally, but if you have like a white charcoal pencil and a black charcoal pencil, you can block in the light and the shadow, which is really important as you're designing those thumbnail sketches. And challenge yourself to think about the scene that you want from different angles. And then if you're going to tackle it from a different angle, then you might have to change like what the figures are doing in order to convey the same story or whatever it is that you're trying to get across.
Someone's asking if the purple is a cool shadow. Again, all colors are relative. So purple, because it's made of like red and blue, red is usually warmer, blue is usually cooler. It depends on what it's in relation to. So if like the majority of the photograph is blue, then it'll look warmer actually as a shadow. Like if the lighting situation is cool, then purple might relatively be warmer. But if the lighting situation is like more yellow or orange, then yes, purple would be relatively cooler. So it really depends. In this situation, I think it's a cooler shadow. Yeah, because she's outside in the sun, so that's generally more warm. So yeah, it depends. But in this situation, yes, it's a cooler shadow.
Yeah. And part of what I'm like being particular about here is I'm making sure that my shadows are still colorful. And what that's going to do is going to force me to keep my lights colorful. But if I have really gray shadows, then I might not be as thoughtful about like, you know, really maximizing the color of the painting across the board. Pretty good. I think I will. It is tough to say, you know, I don't know if I recommend what I'm doing here. Like, I'm being particular about all this, but I probably shouldn't be as particular as I have been, because, you know, the paint does dry slightly in a slightly different color, and if I'm trying to match it exactly, I might find that like I stripped some of my original color away. But we'll see. We will find out. It'll be easy enough to make very minor adjustments if necessary, so I'm not too concerned about it. Add a little bit more blue. Just going to take some of the color away. And then I think I'll just stop there.
Someone just referred to me in the chat by my last name. That's so funny. That never happens because my last name is super common.
Common?
Yeah. It's like Zheng is very common in China. So. And also, like, you know, in the US, it's pronounced the same as like Zhang, which is like even more common, which is kind of funny. But yeah, nothing wrong with it. It's just like entertaining. Um,
And then just looking at this, I definitely must have just mixed myself a new color with my brush.
mhm.
And let me check the, yeah, so I'm looking at the reference image, which I just have on my phone. And I'm seeing the same value there. So like this value could go down in here. It's cooler and a little bit darker, but I'm just gonna stick with what I have. I don't mind that my shadows are monochrome to start. And I've got plenty of paint to work with. So just a little bit of this guy. And it looks like I didn't use any white at all based on what I'm seeing here. This just looks like I just put the paint out with the white and I just left it alone and used only Naples yellow. Which again is not surprising, especially in the beginning of paintings. I'm always thinking like, I want to make this painting super colorful.
Right.
And if I can make it like really colorful across the board, and if that sets the tone for the rest of the painting to be really colorful, then I'm very happy. And I say that based on experience because a lot of my paintings, I'll paint them like really elegantly and subtly, and so elegantly sometimes that only other artists can appreciate it. Whereas other people are kind of like, oh, it's like, you know, it's like they kind of like wish that there was something more. Okay. Got a smidge more red in that one. Okay. I think we can start painting.
Sounds awesome.
Sounds nice, yeah. See, all this mixing paint, super nice, super relaxing, and now it's kind of like, you know, painting would be even more fun. Now you can see in the reference probably that they're like the shadow underneath or on her neck. What's showing up on my phone is green, relatively, whereas her face is more red. And I could put it in, but I'm not going to. Basically, it's green because of the blue scarf, and I'm not sure how blue I want that scarf to be in my painting. All right, so what am I up to now? Got this stuff, got this. And I'm just going to use some Alkyd, Old Holland. Whoops,
Very good.
that was a bit much. I admit that's a bit wasteful for this painting, and that stuff is pretty valuable, but it's all right. Okay, brush of choice, brush of choice.
So, Daniel, how did you make your transfer? Someone's asking.
So I used like a carbon transfer paper, put that down, make sure that the right side is facing down, black and white photo that was set to the actual size on Photoshop, which I then printed out in black and white on just regular old paper, taped the carbon paper down, and then I taped the transfer paper down, and then I just drew in the outlines. And you can see that in this section I was taking out the transfer lines as I went.
Yeah, so same way as like Evolve does. Pretty
Yeah.
much, so nothing special. Do some of the future lessons after Block 3 teach us about color temperature?
I think
Not like explicitly temperature, I think, but you just get more particular with color mixing, and I think they focus more on like chroma.
so.
Like when you do speed painting, you like want like the most colorful part of like an object and stuff, right? Or am I mistaken? I'm not sure like the nitty gritty of how it works.
Yeah, I'm actually not too particular on the details myself. However, I do know that Kevin teaches glazing in Block 6. And in that video lesson, I'd be very surprised if he doesn't mention color temperature at all. But really, like, one of our approaches to teaching color is that actually really, like, let people get familiar with color first. Like, we don't want to jump into color theory until you've really had a lot of experience playing around with it. And so, yeah, like, everything I'm saying to you has been, it's like 95% experience of just playing around and getting familiar with this palette. And then along the way, learning little bits of information, like about like why we have our palette the way that we do and how it affects temperature. And just knowing that there's warms and cools of things. But there's actually a video about color on YouTube. And there's a fun story I tell.
Is it on Evolve's channel?
Yeah, it's on the Evolve channel, Simplifying Color for Painting, I believe it's called. And in it, I tell this story about when I was learning under Kevin, young spry, young lad, and I was painting the still life of this, like this white can, basically. And I remember just taking out my titanium white and just slapping that on the palette. And I'm thinking, well, this is going to be really easy. I mean, it's white, you know, so why wouldn't you just use white to paint something that's white? And Kevin comes over, of course, and he's just looks up at me and he's like, are you sure that this is white? It's like, well,
have you considered
I thought
your
I was
actions?
sure.
Yeah.
Now I'm not so sure.
Right.
And so, because the truth is that in that environment, there's a warm incandescent light bulb, like a 2700 or maybe even lower light bulb that was shining on this, which would then make it relatively yellow, creamier, like a salmon color. But I just didn't see it because my eyes had just adjusted to the white balance, and I just thought that, well, it's white, you know. But if you think about, like, if you go out on a snowy day at 7 p.m. at night in, like, the winter, or actually it may have to be earlier in the winter, but, you know, when it's twilight and there's snow out, the snow is blue, but our brain just tells us that it's white, but the snow is actually blue.
Yeah.
So you imagine this kind of like this really blue scene as you're walking at twilight in this snowy day, and then imagine turning the corner and you see this lamppost that is just this beautiful orange color. Just envision that for a second. Imagine the snow kind of falling down around that lamppost. What color is the snow around that lamppost? Is it blue? Or is it something else? And so it's really hard. Like, it's a party trick that I use with my friends all the time. I'm like, you know, what color is like this black switcher? I'm like, what color is this? And they're like, it's black. And I'm like, really? Well, if this is black, then like, what color is this? Like, you know, shadow back in here. And they're like, well, it's a blacker black. You know, like, they don't know what to say. They don't know how to answer it.
It's light black.
Right. And I can just tell them and explain, like, well, it's, you know, it's because of light and all this thing, and this is actually like maybe like a kind of a green or something with the lighting environment we have even right now, or a blue or something. And they'll stare at me like I see the world like totally differently, which I do, thanks to art. But I can't just make them suddenly see it. And so when Kevin was explaining to me, it was like, you know, was this really white? And I was like, yes, it's white. Like, I didn't know what else to call it. And I couldn't see what he was seeing. So he just walked away. He left me there at the easel, left to just ponder my life and you know, all my understanding of everything. Because, like, he couldn't just make me see it. And so with color, we treat it in that way, like Mr. Miyagi approach. You know, just get into it, really learn it, build up some experience, and then the little pieces of information, like, you don't need a lot of information to be able to mix color well. You need a lot of experience and a little bit of information, not the other way around. Okay. So, I've got some brushes. That was a fun little anecdote. Okay. What do I want to start with? So I've got, this is like, I don't know if they can see it, but there is a little, very subtle transfer line right in here. What could that be? It's not very prominent in the photo that I'm working with. This is that hit of light. I could just go, I mean, I could just paint the mouth. or around it. I think I'll just start and block in my darkest values. Sounds pretty reasonable. It's what we do in Evolve. We have our students use the darkest shadows first. And I'm gonna have to get pretty small. It's a 10 by 10 painting, I believe, 9 by 9, something like that. And I just added a little bit of this alkyd, thin it down. Doesn't really need to be thinned down, but might just help me blend in, especially when I start blending into the previous stuff. So what's going on in here? Just calibrating my eyes to the painting. Okay. So this is where it starts. You know, it's funny when sometimes when you're making your transfer image, and I made this transfer image actually probably years ago. Sometimes you're just wondering, like, why did I put that mark there in the way that I did? So this is, it's really subtle, but there's actually, let's drop that guy in there so that I define, there's a tooth in there. So even for something like this, it's like, you know, I've got this transfer image, but I still have to use my understanding of proportional drawing. I don't just rely on the transfer. I think I'm gonna just do this right in here. Now this is not just a line, I mean it's gonna go down as one for now, but this is actually gonna be a gradient where everything is a sharp edge and a gradient. So what I'm seeing is that there's kind of a gradient going in both directions. Which actually makes sense because there's no, if there was like a really clear light shining on this, then you'd have like a form shadow and cast shadow. Maybe there still is, but I'm not really picking it up very well. I'm going to let the outer edge be defined for now. Kind of like different sections in her lips where they get a little bit darker. Anyone have any questions while I get
Eric
adjusted?
just said something, I don't really understand it, but he
Okay.
said, does anyone else start drawing or painting and then start seeing the lines appear on the page in your mind and just trace those? It seems to be happening more and more as I practice.
Yeah, I actually do relate to that. I don't know if that's what that is. Maybe we have a strong imagination. Just like, and actually too, even, I'm like always double checking that because I just saw one of those imaginary lines you just described. And I put it down and I realized, wait a minute, that's not the right angle. So I just use my small brush here, just slightly adjust that angle there. Like her teeth are pretty, like, I mean, they're really nice teeth, but they are just slightly crooked. And I can use that to my advantage to find the angles. I mean, I don't even know if they're like not crooked in a bad way. They just change slight directions based on the form. But yeah, there's like, especially once you put down this darker value, again, relationships, now they have this darker value down, it's even harder to see some of these things. But based on what I am, so I'm really, more than anything, even at this point, I'm relying on my understanding of proportional drawing. Like this little divot here, I'm comparing it against, like this is kind of in the center of this tooth here, and that's confirming where it's supposed to go. There's really no lines that are helping me make that kind of decision like that. This one is kind of inset off to the side. So we'll just make that mark there. And then there's another one also on the inside, somewhere along here. Another one in the center. And I may. Yeah, something like that. And then this will have to get cleaned up later. There's like some teeth on the other side of here, but I'm just going to block it in.
Mm-hmm.
It's not super important, especially because I'm working with a pretty limited palette, which I want to have my limited palette for now. And I can always place it in later. So there, I was just so focused on putting down those marks, I haven't really put it down thickly and made sure that it's densely covering. And if I paint it too thinly, then it's going to read as my other value, which I don't want. So I can more confidently come in here and bring in that darker value simply by making sure that my paint density is nice and solid. But this top edge, I'll let that be a little bit lighter. Kind of looks a little scary, not gonna lie, with the current situation, but that's all right. Okay, really happy with myself that this is like a good stopping point here because I had a really soft edge that comes up, and you might not be able to tell, but this is a little bit lighter, and then it gets a little bit darker right there, and then it's going to get a little bit lighter again, so I can just push it up against this one, but I don't have to worry about that other edge on the other side. Okay, and now let's see, I think I might take this one and push it into here. It's really, this reappears over here, but it's lighter in here just slightly. And you know what? With my phone, since I'm working in monochrome, I'm just thinking, you know what? Why don't I just take my reference and make it monochrome? That way I'm not fighting the colors as I go.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
It is 8:19, by the way.
8:19.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay. Yeah, I will say, not to let everyone down, but I am not planning on finishing this today. I care about my sister too much to let that happen. This can come down. Could even get away with making this section darker. Do I want to? This is going to come in. This kind of rolls underneath here. some really interesting cast shadows from her hair.
Mm-hmm.
Just thinly block them in for now.
Trina says that outline for her made the face come to life.
Oh, really? Hmm. So here, now I'm using paint density to my advantage because I mix my colors really well. They're just mixing in with what's below it. And then I can take some of this darker shade and push it in, which I think I'll just do right now. Do I want to use a big brush? I'll use the same brush, why not? I work pretty thinly with this one because I don't know how dense I was previously. And I don't make this section any darker than it has to be.
It looks like this camera's not charging, so
It's not charging.
it says like low battery, which makes me feel like it's not charging.
It's not good. Worst case, we can keep painting without.
Yeah, I'll figure it out.
Face is only so beautiful, you know what I mean? Okay, so it's so nice, right? Because I matched that color so well, even though it took me a long time, so I like to paint in a way where I just paint for hours. And so I take my time mixing my colors right, and then once I'm painting, I can really just get into a zone where everything marries together really easily. It's not conducive for these live streams, but it's really just so nice to have that color mix so well. So I think I'll leave that right there. I'm gonna go back to and you can see as I'm doing this, I'm taking note, this little section right here is becoming some kind of admixture between these two. And that's just in the back of my mind, that I'm creating a new value already and that I'm okay with it. And it's gonna start to help me define some things a little bit better, like this darker section as her neck tucks in behind the scarf. I'll let it be a little bit more dense so that it really does its job there. Okay. Let's start going up in value. So I just decided this probably wasn't the best move, but I kind of cleaned my brush inadvertently by just wiping it into the other mixture. And now I can easily go into this one. And I'm going to start to make a little in-between mixture here, add mixture. So I'm finding that that admixture is actually really close to this value up here, which this is actually a bit brighter, so I'm gonna have to make some adjustments on the fly for my values. So I'll get a little bit darker. I'm gonna find something that goes in between those. Basically creating a gradient.
Da, 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 da.
Da 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 da. Gradients. Just knock down that edge. Everything is nice and soft. I can easily define things later on if I want to. As I'm getting closer, make sure I know what I'm doing over here, what's going on. So that lighter value actually pushes all the way up to there. Grab that guy, really establish him. I am struggling a little bit with my transfer. Doesn't seem to be giving me the information that I want.
How long ago did you start this?
I don't know, like 5 years ago actually.
5 years?
Yeah.
Wow. Well, you definitely see differently now, so the shapes are probably like in a different language, basically.
Mm-hmm. Right. Even, it's funny, you know, Kevin focuses more on his transfer than anyone I know. And I don't, and I kind of wish I did more because now I'm paying the price. So we're going to bring this guy in here. So that's a little not to my liking.
Are you using the direct painting method?
I am
Not. Well, kind of.
kind of. It's always kind of,
Yeah.
you know.
See what I mean about the persistence of ambiguity and how you just have to embrace it. Yeah. So, I mean, clearly you have like an underpainting, so you're working in layers, but right now you are painting like the exact colors that you see,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So in this exact pass, you're doing direct painting, but since you're using multiple passes, overall it's not direct painting. I guess
Right.
that's a fair explanation.
Right.
Yeah. People are talking about like closing one eye when they paint from life to like make it easier. I have a little bit of scientific insight from my studies at college. Yeah, the reason why it gets easier is because obviously you're getting one image per eye, and there's like a decent amount of overlap between what you see in both eyes. But clearly there's also like a little bit of offset for both images, since your eyes are perceiving the world at slightly different angles because they're at different locations on your face. So yeah, by eliminating one image, even though like the colors and the shapes and values, etc., are all very similar, there's like a very slight displacement in all of them because you're seeing from a slightly different angle. So like light is hitting something at a slightly different angle, and you're seeing it from a slightly different angle between eye to eye. And so that's where you get like these little bits of ambiguity that closing one eye helps to eliminate. fun-ish kind of fact for the day. Yeah, Eric says if I use both eyes in a live drawing, you have to resolve two perspectives, basically. Yeah.
Just reminds me of Pocahontas.
I never watched that movie because I did not have a childhood. No, I'm kidding. It's because when I was very young, when I was like 2, I saw like 4D SpongeBob in theaters in like China, and like the seats were like shaking, and there was like water spraying up from like in front of us, and like a 40-foot tall SpongeBob face in a dark room when you're 2 years old is like very terrifying. And so I just stayed out of theaters. Like I just did not watch any movies until I was like 10 years old.
Yeah, that checks out.
Yeah. So yeah, I missed out on like a lot of Disney. All right. What happened to Kevin? That's like a really open-ended question. I don't know what you mean. Kevin has
sick.
COVID right now. So I'm just answering the chat. So he couldn't be here for our planned photo shoot demo. So we are rain checking. I don't know why I'm saying it and typing it at the same time. The rain checking.
I've done that before too.
Yeah, I guess like if people scroll up, they won't ask the question again.
I keep resting my hand on this easel here, and it makes a squeaky sound. And I apologize. Starting to find a groove here.
I was born in America, yes. But I went back pretty much every year until I was like, until around I was 12. I would go back in the summers. But yeah, then I started having to do like extracurriculars and summer school and summer homework and all that stuff. And so being in America was more viable. Yeah, but I've been back about two or three times since middle school. But yeah, I was born here. And someone else is sharing my early on movie trauma experience. Appreciate it. Yeah, Bambi's intense.
Oof.
Yeah, see, I was just like terrified by the overall sensory experience of like shaking and water and like this abstract, like kind of ugly, massive face yelling at me. But Bambi's like emotional. I'm glad we both survived. I don't know how to pin my comment, sorry. But I have no problem just saying things again.
It's going to start jumping up in value a little more. So are there other people painting right now too?
Are there other people painting right now?
Let us know.
Doesn't seem like it. I mean, no one's talking about it, but maybe that's just because we haven't asked yet. Everyone wants Kevin to get better soon.
That's nice. I don't know if everyone else notices, but this red is a bit more red than I think I would like.
A little bit too saturated.
Yeah. It's okay though.
It's okay. It is 8:37.
Okay.
A little under an hour and a half in. So.
It's still important for me to these relationships, so I'm even just painting back over some sections to help make that connection good. My brush is a bit contaminated since I've really crossed all values here. You can see. So maybe I'll do a quick switcheroo. Need a good switcheroo every once in a while. There we go. That just took out some of that contamination creeping through. And I mean, I really can get away with, like, not that I want to. I'm pretty particular, as you can probably all tell. But, you know, a lot of this extra stuff that we're seeing is from cast shadows from here. Just playing off the light in funny ways.
We have a question from Darkstar.
Yeah.
Since we aren't doing the photo shoot, could you explain the elements of this photo that you think make for a good painting?
Well, the light and shadow is, to me, is the biggest one. Like, there's enough of a light and shadow relationship that you can understand the form going on in her face. Like already, you know, you're seeing this emerge, and you could see it emerge even from the very first pass that I'd done when I just did one value for my lights and one value for my shadow. And so that is just huge. Like if she was all in shadow, as much as I might love this photo, I wouldn't have painted it. But because there's a light and shadow relationship, it was worth painting. Then you also have just the light catching her hair while it's just, you know, bouncing and catching all this movement. And that's just really cool to me. Like, part of me, I think at the time when I took the photo, I was like, oh man, I wish I had, like, you know, got her more in frame, because she's kind of like off to the frame. But I've come to like it more and more. Become one of my favorite photos of Sarah. Just because, I don't know, it's like it feels so candid and just like she's moving, you know, like you can't put her in a box. But yeah, light and shadow is the biggest one for sure. What the masters would paint, you know, like what do you want people to look at? They will look at the light, so use the light, and the light is making you look right there. Sound effects are always important.
So is the main like tip for what to look for in any photo that you want to paint to be like clear light and shadow to explain form?
Yeah.
Yeah. If it weren't for the lights in your face and in her face, would you still have painted it, or would you have tried to add your own lights from imagination?
I would not have even attempted it.
No.
I have done stuff like that before, but like this is a portrait of my sister. You know, like there's room to play when you're making something from your imagination and you don't really care about getting like a likeness and capturing someone. And you know, people, they change from just the slightest different angles, and the light like is all determined by the angles. You know, the angle of where the light is coming from and everything. And so to just invent it on your own and to think that you can do that, I mean, I guess it's not out of the question, but wow. I mean, even like if I did want to rise up to the challenge of that, it would be such a task. And this is just a gift, you know? Like, I want to do this for my sister, and I don't want to break my back doing this. I want to enjoy it. I've been doing some things with the painting over there that's off camera with my commission that has been at that level, inventing light and trying to make it make sense. And yeah, I tell you, it's quite the battle. Because like your shapes could be right, but then if your light and shadows are wrong, then you're not sure if your light and shadows are wrong or if your shapes are wrong. And it's not until you get both of them right simultaneously that it works and convinces you that it's worth leaving. I don't know if it makes sense, but okay, so. I know it might not be exciting for a lot of you to watch me paint in these shadows, but really once these shadows are done, the lights are going to be pretty straightforward.
I was just filling in the blanks.
Yeah. Guess I may as well block this in. Turns out that I have the perfect value on my brush.
Nice. Love it when that happens.
Yeah. And I might have some room, like towards the end of our painting session today, I might realize I was a little too subtle or not subtle enough, and I can make those adjustments. Like that's looking pretty subtle to me, but it might actually be the right one. And I'm not quite sure yet because the other things would need to be blocked in to really confirm that. So.
Do you have an idea of like what you want to finish tonight? Or just running on the clock?
If I finish all the shadows, like including the mouth and the nose and even the eye up in here, that would be great. But I don't even know if I'll get around to that. Like I said, I'm not interested in rushing this one.
Right.
Just a lot of unforeseens this weekend. And glad that we can still paint with you guys. But I don't want to sacrifice this painting in order to rush it. I hope everyone's okay with that for this evening. So that's definitely going to need a value jump, I'm thinking. So I'm going to just block that in for now. It is pretty, like everything in here is really soft.
Barbie is asking, how do you store your palette at the end of your painting session?
Well, I don't always need it, but if I do want to be able to return to it, like this one came from my studio at home, and it's cool actually. Like, you know how some desks have like a keyboard tray that comes out underneath it? I have that, and I actually just store my palette there. And so when I'm not painting at home, I'll leave the last one that I used right there, which is where I got this one. After a while, the palette will dry, and so you can also just stack them on top of each other.
Yeah, but if it's dry, you can't like
I
use it
expect
again.
mine to dry. I don't try to conserve them.
Right. Me too.
value elevation there. Elevation. Part of me is wondering if I am trying to, if I'm maybe relying on my transfer too much. Like some of it is really hard to tell what's going on. And I kind of feel like it would be easier if I thought about it more loosely, but. So at the very least right now, I'm just thinking about everything really skeptically. Second guessing myself quite a bit. So, gonna do this admixture here. Do I need to? I'm gonna go down a size. Use this admixture. Even if it's not the right value, I know that it's gonna be a nice placeholder. And then I can adjust the value afterwards. But I am still finding my shapes in these places right now. Definitely gets lighter right there. This shape might be more right than I think it is. So I'm gonna leave that for just a second.
Maybe just fill the shape and then see how it like works in the context, and then adjust from there.
It's funny, her smile really does kind of curl up at the very edges. It's pretty cool. Obviously, that's a bit exaggerated, and I'll knock it down, but gotta keep it entertaining for everybody, you know what I mean?
We do our best.
Yes. So right now, this is just going down as one value, but it's going to become a gradient. It's got to wrap around. And that's why the shape is looking a little bit off to me. Because just as I said earlier, it's not just the shapes. Like sometimes it's like, is the shape off or is the value off? That's making it look the way that it looks.
Right.
So.
Gotta identify the problem.
Yep, so now I'm ready to go up a little bit. And just gonna go with this mid-tone here.
Such a satisfying, like, organized line of values on your palette. Because I know mine are just like clusters of random colors.
That is true. Yes, I will. I'll be transparent and tell you that I do cringe a little bit when I see your palette.
To each their own.
Yeah, yeah. It's not like you're doing anything wrong. It's just more like, wow, like I don't know how you do that. I don't know if anyone else feels that way, where like you kind of just, for me, it's like calibrated is such a good word to describe it. Like, and having a nice structure on my palette just helps me calibrate to, like to me, my palette and my painting are kind of the same thing. You know, like the palette is a map.
I feel like mine are usually in clusters of like colors.
Right.
So like that kind of maps out like subject by subject. But then like I end up repurposing them for value, which is like fun.
I do the exact opposite. Values and then repurpose my colors. Or, you know, like I'll make offshoots with different colors instead of different values. So now that I'm kind of adjusting the values on this shape, it's starting to look like the shape that it should be. Isn't that interesting?
Like glaze in the greener tones later.
Maybe.
At least like in the reference, I'm seeing a lot of them.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of green in general. If I can make a really nice painting without them, then I will not put them in. But if I find that it's necessary to help bring out other things, then I would add the green. Once again, it's all about those relationships. Adding a little bit of green, it might not be to my liking, but it might electrify something else that's really to my liking. That makes it worth it. Oh, by the way, for those who are listening, like I guess, I don't know, hope everyone's listening, but I had a thought about doing something like dueling painters.
Yeah.
Like me and May, not necessarily like dueling as far as like a competition goes, because I don't know, I don't really see the point in that, but where we do something similar and we paint it in our own style or something, and maybe we set up the cameras where the easels are, you know, facing each other, but the, you know, the cameras are showing like both paintings happening at the same time, and we could make it fun. We could like do different challenges and whatever. Let me know what you guys think about that. If you want to make a poll, May,
Sure.
that'd be great.
Is it the ... thing? Up
Yeah.
top? Participants toggle timestamps and send feedback. Not seeing a poll option.
So did you, I guess,
I think because I'm logged into like my personal account. I'm not like in the Evolve account right now.
oh, you're not using the OBS?
Yeah, because it just never
Feature?
showed up.
Gotcha.
So
All right, well, everyone just let us know in the chat if you
yeah.
would think something like that would be really cool.
If so, of what? I'm just overly punctuating.
This slightly brighter value here is important because it helps define.
Rockstar and Rhiannon are saying yes.
Yes.
We have 37 people total watching.
Anybody say no?
Not yet. We have 2 more yeses, another yes, and someone says like it. I'm not sure if that's a yes or just like the painting in general.
Cool.
We have 1 person saying, nah, not interested in unnecessary competition.
Okay.
It's not exactly a competition, we're just painting the same thing, but
Yeah, the idea would not to make it a competition. Hopefully like some kind of challenge, but not like a challenge where it's like, am I going to beat you? But more of like, you know, challenge of how do I approach this thing? Or maybe we're just both just painting like a landscape and maybe we choose different subject matter. Maybe we get challenged from you guys to do a prompt or something, which is something I'm kind of excited about. We're kind of gearing up for something like that. I feel like that could be pretty...
what are we gearing up for?
Well, okay. I'm excited about the idea of one day like just being able to paint and you guys just send me prompts of like paint such and such a thing and I'm like, okay, and then I just go and paint it like super fast. But as you can see, like I'm so accustomed to painting at my own pace that I don't want to just jump into that yet. It's only my 2nd live stream painting.
Yeah, people seem pretty interested. Jeff is asking if you're going to end up painting the trees in the background. Probably not in this pass, but eventually.
I might not.
You might not. Swag.
Anything that like doesn't add more, I think less is better. Or something like this. So I might find that, you know what, a little bit of trees would just help make this feel a little more candid, or it might help like, certainly not, the trees are not there to capture any kind of meaning that I'm aware of. We'll see if I get inspired miraculously by that. But I'll cross that road when I get there. Right now the background is doing its job so that I can move forward.
Yeah, people are saying, ooh, maybe you should paint suggestions. Well, suggest things, guys. And Eric says he's heard of a game called Telephone for Art. Yeah, I think it's Splatoon, right? Like, no, it's not Splatoon. Oh, no, it starts with a... Garter. Something Garter. Wait. Garter drawing game. Garter game? Yeah, Gartic Phone. It's like a really, really like low-res game that I play with my friends sometimes where you get, like someone starts off with a prompt of like what to draw and they get like 30 seconds or something and it's just like a mouse pad and it's just like really bad, but that's like the point. And then after 30 seconds, the next person gets it and then they have to write down what they think it is and then like draw what they think it is. And they usually like it evolves throughout the thing. So you start off with like a tree and you could get like a cat or something. Yeah, what about working on the same painting? I'm down. Yeah, suggest things, guys.
Oh,
That's what we're
interesting.
asking for here.
Work on the same painting? 2 tigers rule 1 mountain? I
I
don't
feel
know.
like it would have to be like really horizontal.
You over there, me over here.
And like 2x4 or
Don't
something.
disturb me. But then if that's the case, then what's the point, right?
Yeah.
The other challenge would be like our bodies getting in the way of the camera
Yeah, literally.
for everybody.
Yeah, so.
That's like, you know, one of the
Or
funny
like
things, like
maybe
logistics.
we could like
could be
kind of
hard.
alternate working on one painting, like live stream by live stream. Like 1 week you work on it and then another week like I work on it. I feel like
That'd be
I feel
interesting.
like we would piss each other off.
You're like,
It's like
"No!"
why would you do this?
No, I love that part. I hated it.
Yeah.
I've been looking forward to doing this all week. That'd be funny.
Lore. But maybe like if we both painted like the same, like from the same reference or something. Paint each other's portrait.
But then we'd always be just, well, like if we did, we couldn't do it from life. That'd be too hard.
Yeah, they just said from life. How would you even set up the cameras for that? Like,
Well, and how would we even spend the time looking at each other? You know, look at me. No, I'm painting you.
yeah, that'd be hard. Actually, I mean, unless we split it into 2 sessions, you know, but like then it's just one person painting at a time.
Well, but then it feels more like a competition too. It's not easy, guys.
I think we could just
wanna
get
take
like,
your suggestions.
yeah, maybe like we just work off one prompt, like landscape or something, and we just bring our own reference, and just like whatever we want to do based on like one concept. That might be interesting.
Maybe what we could do, rather than do like, you know, prompts like in the moment, but if we did like a big poll of like, you know, which of these things do you guys want to see or something? And then May and I have a week to prepare.
Yeah.
Maybe we post some Instagram stories about, you know, us preparing for it or whatever. And then we paint, you know, our things at the same time together.
Yeah, and if we're both painting, no one's on the chat.
Right.
That would be funny.
Well, I figured I could actually like have the chat somehow here, and if we set up the
true.
cameras to never change,
Yeah.
so maybe people don't see our palette, but they just see each of our paintings at the same time.
What if we have Kevin on the chat? That'd be hilarious.
Kevin would steal the show.
I would not allow Kevin to be on the chat.
That'd be pretty fun. We would also need a third mic, and that would be tough with our current setup.
We should both paint Kevin. That would be funny. I'm kidding.
That would actually be kind of funny.
It would be live painting. We just sit on either side of him. We both get like 3/4 views.
I could paint Kevin right now. You guys ready? You know what I'm gonna do?
Oh, on the palette?
Yeah.
Oh, is it the box head thing?
Yeah. You guys ready for this?
Very good. Wait, let me switch the cami. All right, there we go.
All right, guys.
Kevin, I hope you're watching.
This is Kevin.
A man is a cube. A girl is a gun.
Gotta give him that furrowed brow, you know? With a very confident smile.
Kevin perceived the slender. He
Oh.
looks like, I don't know.
I am your teacher. Dun, ta, da. Transform your skills. There
This
you
is
go,
the
ladies
real
and gentlemen.
painting, actually. We were planning this from the very beginning. This is why Kevin's sick, so we could draw him on the palette.
What do you think? 10 out of 10, right?
The confidence goes hard in his face. He definitely stands with his hands on his hips.
Actually, I don't think he ever
Yeah,
does.
yeah, I know,
He
that's the
never-
point.
Oh, okay. And he never goes like this either.
No.
But it conveys the assertion, you know. Let me tell you something.
Riddle me this. Oh.
All right,
Riddle
so I'm
me
gonna go.
this, student. It is 9:05.
9:05.
You're going till 10:15? 10.
I'm all right with that.
Okay.
Okay, so now bring in this lighter value because I know I have room for one, but nothing. Oops, nothing is quite as.
Kevin just texted me. He said you're both dead to me. And you're just a box to us.
Ouch.
With legs and confidence.
No, Kevin, I'm sorry. Forgive me.
Daniel repents. Do you forgive? It sounds like a game. You can choose yes, no.
I'll erase the painting.
Rebecca says, I hope I can paint that well by the end of the program. So that's sweet. I don't know if she's referring to the stick figure or to your current painting.
But yeah, that lighter value is doing wonders right now. I don't know if everyone can envision what I'm envisioning already.
Are you seeing all the lines in your head?
Lines.
All the shapes, all the values, all the
Lines do
hues,
not
hues,
exist.
chroma, tonal value. No, Robert, you're good. um,
Haven't even touched the teeth. They do look pretty freaky, don't they?
Rebecca says the stick figure. So true.
What's that?
She was aspiring towards the stick figure
Oh.
by the end of the program. It's hard to, put that much personality in so few brushstrokes. There's a real economy of visual semantics going on that Daniel has demonstrated complete mastery of. So, yeah, aspire.
I actually, when I was younger, I would make stick figures all the time. And actually, seriously enjoy it. And I wouldn't do, I would do big battles and things like that. And I would have Greek warriors and barbarians with axes. It was really fun. So nice I can just so gently push this paint around. What you're seeing here is the reward of taking my time with my palette and getting my colors right. It's nice, I don't have to, I know that there's light and that, the light really is going to matter so much more than these shadows. But if you took away, well, I can't say that. I was going to say if you took away the light, then you would have all these, you would have a different light source almost, except for the fact that there really is only one light source. We're shooting outdoors here. And it's just all just ambient light bouncing around. So you wouldn't really have the same kind of structure. There's no cast shadows that would be appearing here because there's no other light source other than just ambient light. I don't know if you could call ambient light making their own cast shadows. Maybe on a technical basis, if there's something strong enough from one side and not another, but
Right. How often do you paint from live models?
how often? I have not in a long time, but there was a season where I had a weekly thing going with friends. We would just do 5-hour stints. What's that?
I remember.
Did you join?
I just remember hearing about them. I think I was only at the school. I was still doing still lives. I hadn't worked from a transfer or anything yet at that point, so I was like, that's some higher up material.
Yeah, if you look on my Instagram at Daniel Folta, you will see some of those studies from life. I was really experimenting a lot with my colors during that time. Things that I think is just so cool about painting is how you can put one thing down, at one moment, and it seems like it's the wrong value or the shade, but if you know that it's right, you just keep going, and then once all the other relationships become established, it just fits right in there. It's always just so rewarding. Has Kevin forgiven me, by the way?
Is Kevin what?
Has he forgiven me?
Just hasn't responded.
No. Yeah, guys, this is my last live stream, so I hope you enjoyed it while I was here. But that's the end. No, I'm kidding. I think I'm kidding. Nah. Kevin is pretty fun to tease.
So,
It always feels
yeah.
like, Kevin has such a status. So to tease him is sort of like
He's
this,
like standing
ooh.
on this like 40-foot pedestal, and we're just like throwing little tomatoes at him.
Right. That's what makes it so much fun.
That's a fun visual for you guys.
Not everybody can tease Kevin.
Not me getting canceled twice in one live stream.
Actually, I wasn't allowed to tease Kevin for a while. He never outright said that, but I just knew.
Yeah, I don't know when I started being allowed to. I remember like seeing other people tease him and like being like extremely confused. And it's like, how are you not like smote by like a lightning bolt right now, But, yeah, and then one day I woke up and I chose violence, and it's never been the same. Robert's asking if this is a reddish monochromatic painting.
Yes.
Yes.
But when I bring in the lights, it will not be. Probably.
Yeah, so as of now, it is a reddish monochromatic painting. But what's that saying? The same man never walks through the same river twice or something. Because like everything changes with the passage of time.
I believe that's a Chinese proverb. I forget who said it though. It may have been the same guy who talked about the butterfly dream.
Mayhaps. There's like another version of that with like the same sentiment where it's like there are all kinds of love in this world, but never the same love twice. But we don't need that right now. Robert says we only tease the strong. Very good. Yeah, Kevin, you're strong and stuff.
Huh. I don't
Hear
get
that?
teased very often. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Guess you gotta find yourself a 40-foot pedestal. I'll be the gremlin that runs around throwing grape tomatoes at everyone.
Yeah, I guess I would feel much better if I was being teased, guys, so. Bring it on. I don't know what to say.
Give me verbal abuse. Validate me.
No, I was homeschooled, so I'm probably a bit of a softie.
No.
Don't be mean.
That's funny.
Okay. There's like some stuff going on here, but it really is quite subtle, and I think maybe it's more important to emphasize that there's a lip in here.
I'm asking him again if he forgives you. Evan. Daniel repents. Do you forgive?
Actually, okay, well, let the truth come out. I don't really repent, so.
Daniel does not repent. Never mind. It is 9:15.
9:15.
Yes, he forgives, even though you didn't repent.
Wow.
Wow, that's crazy.
Magnanimous.
Oh, he's typing again.
Uh-oh. I'm ready.
Rally your troops. He stopped typing. He's typing again. The suspense is killing me, guys.
He might just hit me where it hurts and tell me that the painting is a train wreck.
Kevin has responded, and I will not say it on camera.
Oh no.
There's a period at the end of the sentence, which implies seriousness. But since I can't take things seriously, it just makes it more funny.
Kevin's texts are very hard to decipher.
They're ominous.
Really hard to tell when he's using sarcasm.
Yeah. So that's why, like, my defense mechanism to cope against that is just to assume that he's never serious. So I'm never like, so it's never like, you're so gullible. It's like, May, are you for real? You know, so it's like different. He says he still owes you a wrestling match. I don't know where this is coming from.
Yeah.
Is this lore?
Lore?
Lore.
Sure, yeah. So, I don't know, at some point I started talking up a game against Kevin. For those of you who don't know, Kevin is well versed in jiu-jitsu and...
All sorts of ways to mangle the human body.
Or was it judo? Or both?
Both. Jiu-jitsu.
And was familiar
Taekwondo,
with,
probably.
you know, street experience, let's just say.
He was forged in the Bronx, let's just say that.
So me and my cushy lifestyle, I just thought, you know, I should challenge Kevin to a wrestling match. So I started talking a game. And,
So you also woke up and chose violence.
but then I was also just been waiting, you know, just let the years do the work for me. He gives me a hard time because, you know, I keep avoiding it. Because honestly, I know that he would, not only would he like refuse to win and he would destroy me, but he might hurt himself in the process in order to do so.
Yeah, mercy points, right? For Kevin Murphy. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, no, I really, I don't stand a chance.
I think someone misheard you and you said cushy life. And they thought you were talking about, they thought you said that Kevin and his wife had like a wrestling match. That's false.
Yeah.
Daniel's referring purely to himself and Kevin. There is no female involved in this tale.
Thank you for that clarification.
That is all. Thank you, Eric, for the supplemental clarification. The person who had that misinterpretation is disappointed. So am I. What? No, just kidding. Too much lore.
For those of you who don't know, lore is May's way of saying backstory and
Yeah.
just insider info about
It's my little
all
lingo.
the shenanigans that go on.
Shenanigans.
So I'm letting this value just get a little bit brighter because I know that this is going to transition, but I'm going to leave that there because that's where I'm considering that the light really starts. And I am a little skeptical about that shape, but I will just get into it later. Definitely not doing the lights today, given the pace which I'm going here. I'd rather go over, like, you know, and spill in with my shadows than like force myself to spill in with my lights.
Mm-hmm.
And now for those of you, so these are cast shadows coming through here, through the hair.
Mm-hmm.
But just given the nature of like the hair and everything, I'm not going to make them too sharp. I can sharpen them up later, but for now, I much prefer to keep them a little bit soft as long as they remain defined. And that's me thinking more in terms of speed painting. I'm kind of speed painting, except that I'm leaving my edges sharp in the areas that I want them to. But I'm kind of like, my gradients are very much like thinking in terms of speed painting. And
Want to hear something funny?
yeah.
Someone thought you were Kevin.
I'm not Kevin.
And Eric goes, Daniel can't be Kevin if he's Daniel, though. And then
Well,
the
if you're
person who
jumping
thought
in-
you were Kevin was like, Daniel, question mark?
Oh yeah, if you're jumping in, you know, halfway through.
Plot twist, I'm Kevin.
Also, like, you know, like I could do the ads and stuff like that for Evolve.
Yeah.
which, you know, if you're not familiar with, happy to tell you all about it. But no, I'm just a guy, you know. 15 years old, my mom dragged me into Kevin's art school. It's pretty amazing to see the stuff on the walls. And I just got sat down and taught how to make a gradient. And it was challenging and fun, and it kept me coming back. I wasn't really interested in painting. I was interested in writing. And but it was challenging. Like Kevin was just like, it's got to be really good. It's got to be perfect. Like always just challenging me. And something in my 15-year-old self just thought, I need to
Out of spite.
rise to the challenge here. And it was fun, you know.
I need to defeat this man.
It was really rewarding, really rewarding work.
Yeah.
So I wasn't really thinking like, oh, this is gonna change my life, or I was just going in and doing my exercises. I was always excited to grow. Like it was just like, if I learned something, I really enjoyed that, and I felt like, wow, like I accomplished something. But I didn't have like, you know, art on my horizons or anything.
Mm-hmm.
And I was also one of Kevin's slower students.
Mm-hmm.
And just kept plugging away at it. I like, you know, you see, I paint slowly, and I think slowly, but I do a lot of processing, and so it kind of took me a long time to learn a lot about this. But once I got over the hump and started to see how all these things connect with each other and relate to each other, it just started to blow my mind, and I started to produce really, really awesome work. You know, for a 17-year-old, for me, it took about 2 years. With once-a-week classes,
Mm-hmm.
where I started to really turn the corner, and it was like, imagine just like doing something like every week without, just like as if it's like a routine and something that you would do just because, you know, just because everyone else does it, or that's kind of how it was for me. And then one day I just woke up, I was like, whoa, I can do this. Like I can paint, like I can paint really well, and I understand how this works, and I have confidence that I could, like, you know, do more of this and do things that I like, paint subjects that I really enjoy, and so that just really began to change my perspective. And so I started making really cool paintings, and then I wanted to do the full-time program with Kevin, so I painted about 30 hours a week for that year, and really leveled up my skills, and then the rest has been history. But when I was 15, I had no idea how much it would change my life. And I think I've said before in the last stream, where for me, like because of that story, like I stumbled into this and everything, and what art did for me, like it changed the way that I see the world, and that is just what I love so much. Like just to appreciate the world in a whole new way is a huge passion of mine. And I would find myself like talking to my friends about like, oh, like look at this thing and look at how this thing does that, and I would just get so excited about it. And I would be telling my friends like, oh, like you can do this too, like because again, like I just stumbled into it, but no one would believe me. Everyone's like, oh, you're so talented, and it's like, well, okay, well, thank you, but I certainly didn't feel that way. Because again, I just put in the work, and I had struggled to learn it all anyways. And so I'd found myself just telling like other people, like, you can do it too. And then I started meeting other artists who, for them, it was like a huge passion to create, you know? Like for me, like I love art, but like there's other people out there who they just have to create. Like it's just in them. Well, I would say to create is also in me, but for some people it's like just to create paintings, or like to make like a more specific kind of art. For me, like I could make like a well-made scrambled eggs for breakfast with like intentionality.
Yes.
I just feel so fulfilled out of it. But for some people, it's
I
like
want scrambled eggs.
I have to paint, you know, like
Mm-hmm.
that's their, and so, but then, like to realize like, wow, well, this gift just landed in my lap. And I get a lot of joy out of helping other people arrive at, like, onto that path and equip them. So that's why I love working for Evolve. And it's also why I love getting to do paintings like this, where I'm going to get to surprise my sister. And, well, actually, so that, like, yeah, like, this is my way of telling my sister that she's beautiful, you know? Like, this is how I see you.
Right.
You know, just so full of joy and just like glowing and radiating. And I want her to see that for herself. I want her to know what I think of her.
That's sweet.
And I now have this ability to tell her that in a way that's way more powerful than just words. Like, let me show you something in a way that you've never seen before. Oh, and I'm going to show you yourself. You know? I tell you, these transfer lines, it's like I didn't know what I was doing when I was younger.
It's called growth.
And it's funny, it's part of the temptation to hold off on this painting because I know that, like, with every year I just keep getting better.
Right.
So it's kind of like, oh, if I wait a little longer, like, painting will be even better. But it's about time. What's the time?
9:30.
Okay.
Well, 9:28, but
Yeah. So yeah, all that being said, I am not Kevin. I'm just one of you who might be a little bit further along on the journey. And hopefully this inspires you, that for you to know that, like, this is possible for you as well. It's really possible. Like, it's just waiting for you. It took work, but it's really rewarding.
have a wonderful day says that helped.
You have a wonderful day too. I know that's there. Didn't we decide to call them wonderful from
Yeah.
now on? Yeah. Wonderful. I'm going to take the liberty of bringing in this lighter value as my light. I'll probably paint over it later, but it's going to help me with my edges. How you doing, May?
I'm all right. Tired. I like took the week off basically from painting. So
Oh, really?
I was experiencing severe burnout.
Oh,
It's
been
like a
going at
pattern
it
with
pretty
me.
hard. Been going at it pretty hard.
Yeah. Being a full-time student and full-time painter is pretty tough. And also like trying to have friends. And, you know, it's like the saying, it's like work hard, play hard. But there's been no playing hard. It's just been working. So, yeah, usually it takes me like around like 3 to 5 weeks, so like a month, where I'm like just really focused on like week by week, hitting these deadlines, getting these tasks done. It was across the board, like with art and with school and with like events I want to be at. Usually, like not a lot of those really. It's just school and painting. And then like around like the 4th or 5th week, I'll like reach this point where I'm just in like such a terrible mood and I'm like exhausted and just like generally upset and I won't know why and I just feel like I'm underachieving and everything. I'm just very frustrated and then I'm like, maybe I need to take a step back. But it's like good because like I had that a lot throughout high school as well, even before I was serious with painting, because I had like a lot of other extracurriculars. So I was just like always very stacked with like things that I needed to do. And like it was really hard to take breaks from things because like extracurriculars are like once or twice a week, and then like you kind of like sign up for them by the month. You like make commitments like down the line, like 2 or 3 months in advance, and that sort of thing. So it's just like very hard to step out of that. But at least like now I kind of have a little more control over my life. So I kind of just let myself just focus on school and attend more events and just be around people my own age more instead of being like alone in the school for like hours on end. So yeah, I guess I'm like feeling better, but I'm still kind of like just overall wishing I had a better balance so I don't have to like either be 100% like working or like be in like kind of a recovery rut, you know. If it would be nice to just be in equilibrium.
Do you think work hard, play hard is sustainable? Do you think work hard, play hard is sustainable?
Yeah, as long as you have both.
Really?
Because like they feed into each other. After you play, you want to work. After you work, you like feel justified and like you want to play. So I think, and it's like, I mean, if I'm gonna do something, like usually I go like pretty much like all in if I'm like really interested. And if I'm not interested in something or I'm not really interested in something, I like won't commit like too much to it. So yeah. Yeah. I mean, obviously I'm not like swayed or anything about like wanting to do art like full time as a career and that sort of thing. But it's just like still figuring out how to like. I mean, it's good because I'm getting to like know myself better and like kind of see patterns in like my moods and like know where they come from, so I can kind of like troubleshoot instead of kind of waiting for it to like actually be a problem. So that's good, I guess. But yeah, it was nice to like get out of class and be like, okay, I can go to the gym, I can see if people are free, I can like relax, I can do schoolwork like now instead of at like 11 p.m. You know, after I'm done painting. I don't have to immediately go to my car and try to beat rush hour traffic and you know like scramble and have all these things. So that was really nice, but you know, there's still like that guilt of like not performing at maximum capacity. Yeah.
Where does
Such
this
is
guilt
life.
come from?
Where did what?
Where does this guilt come from?
Or it's just like just
art therapy here.
No, it's just like knowing that I could do more, and it's like I feel like I'm choosing not to, even though like I know like I kind of need to in order to like feel better. But it's still like, hey, you have 3 paintings on the easel that are near completion. You could have been doing them, but instead you were watching television. Like, and I still wound up making like art for the television, but you know, yeah. Yeah, all right. What
It's
is
okay to not be okay.
what is a Mensa?
Sometimes.
I don't know. I'm looking back at the comments.
Oh.
I'm confused. Yeah. We're chilling. But yeah, this week I'm back on my maximum performance levels. So I have 2 paintings I want to finish. One of them's a commission, another one's a portfolio piece. I have like 2 mock-ups I'm gonna be finishing, so if I can start those, at least I get boards prepped. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So moving along. We're like halfway through the semester, and so before the semester started, I set a bunch of goals for like what I wanted to get done by the end of the semester. So kind of checking off those boxes.
Hmm.
All right, Mensa is a high IQ group, and they have meetings everywhere. I have never heard of this, but interesting to know. That is absolutely nowhere near the top of my mental radar right now, but interesting to know.
So this light right here is going to be brighter, and I need to make sure that I don't start making decisions based on it. I need to continue to remind myself that that's not the correct value, but these other shades that I'm trying to put in here are going to be.
Mensa has teenagers in it. Okay. The cam link stopped working. That's not very nice of it. Let me see. Well, it's still plugged in here, so
You can check the power.
yeah, it's good enough to do that. Well, it's all plugged in. Maybe like a weight change or something. Let's see.
I wouldn't sweat it too much.
Yeah.
We don't have too much
I
longer.
think like this is the most important camera, and it's doing
Yeah.
fine. So. Right. It is 9:41.
Okay.
How are you feeling?
Good. Just assessing my values from a distance here.
Wonderful says, the painting looks beautiful, by the way.
Thank you. It's pretty subtle, but all of this, the relationships in here are a little bit darker than the relationships that I did earlier. And I'm just wondering how much I think that's a problem or if that's something to solve sooner rather than later. I think I'll address it now.
The way the lighting is conveyed puts a spotlight on it, and it's very much so done well, especially with the mixing of colors. Says wonderful.
Thank you.
And Robert F says it looks good with the open sky behind her instead of the trees, from the reference. So
Thanks for the input.
artistic license for the win.
That's right. I really do enjoy subtlety. Sometimes I have to fight it though, like in this moment.
I'm the opposite. I like big, dramatic, dynamic things overall. But yeah, subtlety is like I appreciate it more, but I think dynamic stuff is just more fun. But yeah, the open sky definitely looks better than the rows of trees, I think. It's like, it makes it feel a little bit more, a little less like definitively realistic, you know? It's more freeing.
So I'm just taking this lighter value and just punching up my values here. Simple. I just figured it's going to be easier to do this now than later while everything is wet and just asking for a little bit of help. It's so easy to get caught up in your relationships that you're working in and forget what the overall painting is asking for.
Right.
But you don't want to, trust me, you do not want to lose on the overall effect. Much better to lose on details and to maintain the overall impression.
Eric says that's good life advice, Daniel.
I guess so. Yeah. And I'm really just, I want to capture form.
Mm-hmm.
Now is the time to do it. Color adjustments can be made later. Even value adjustments can be made later. But if I can start to give the impression of form,
Right.
even if it's subtle, that's a win.
It's better for it to be too subtle than too dramatic.
Especially for speed painting.
Yeah.
It's so easy just to make overall, like, almost like a Photoshop filter.
Yeah.
Probably have to double check that shape before I end. Before we wrap up for the evening. What time is it?
It's 9:49.
Okay.
Are you gonna mix a color to like fill the lights with?
No.
Just leaving it open.
Because I'm not going to be able to get into the nose and the eye.
Mm.
It's going to be much softer.
It's very soft looking.
That's the goal.
It's nice. Yeah.
Something tells me this shadow is too dark. It's just experience.
Hmm.
Because I know that when I go lighter with my lights,
Right. There'll be more
it's going to
contrast.
really just pop off. So even if I don't have anything defined in here, I'd rather have my overall value correct.
Someone asks, I think Robert, it's like symbolized funny. How much softer are the lines in the painting than in the photo? I don't know exactly what that means since there are no.
So the photo, things are pretty sharp,
Yeah.
but there's a lot of softness, even within the photo. The nature of the oil paint makes it feel softer. Like These are all pixels. I don't know if they can see that. So that kind of makes things a little bit grainy. Whereas there's no pixels in here, so it feels much softer.
Right. Daniel is painting from a reference on his cell phone. He did not print the photograph, right?
Correct.
Yeah. And Dina's asking if your sister went to the art academy too.
Nope. She did not. My brother did, though. He was better than me.
Really?
Uh-huh.
I did not know this lore.
Emphasis on the was.
Did he like quit?
Well, he just moved on to other passions,
I see.
but he was very good. He was a lot more bold and confident, and it really showed. And so I put in a lot more time than he did. But for a long time, like, even when I started to really turn the corner, he was still better than me, even after I think he like did oil painting for about 1 month. He did
Right.
this foundation program.
Yeah.
And like a 4-week intensive with Kevin. And even after 2 years, I personally felt like his work was objectively better than mine. But, you know, obviously I've been at this for quite a while now, so. He's a fast learner. I was a slow learner. Partly why I feel all the more inspired to tell people about Evolve. It's like, if I could do it.
Right.
Granted, I have patience. You know, I'm not one to settle
Yeah.
for poor quality work. That helps a lot, but I was one of Kevin's slowest students. It's much better. So, you know, as I'm wrapping up, I just want to make sure like that my overall shapes are really solid.
Want that form. Is there anywhere in particular that you're looking, or just?
I'm back to looking at the relationship between all of this and all of this. So this is a bit brighter than this. But in the reference, they're pretty much exactly the same.
Right.
And I'm not sure if I want to, which one I would want to elevate. So if I darken this, then I could potentially do some damage to what's going on in here. But if I darken all of this, then I'm probably going to want to darken all of that. And then I'm just not sure if I want to. Or I could just lighten this, but I kind of already just did that.
Right.
Or I could just leave it and wait. And then, which is probably the move to make.
I feel like you could, yeah, because you have to still put in the lights, and that's going to introduce like a whole set of other relationships.
Yeah.
So
It's also a little bit hard to see what this value is without the context of the nose and without the context of the teeth.
Right.
And so I'm tempted to just be like, oh, well, it's got to be perfect now. But it actually doesn't. And it's so subtle. Like the difference is so subtle that a change somewhere else would affect those relationships now.
Right.
And so I'm just thinking it's not necessary. I'm thinking I'm actually at a pretty good spot to stop.
Yeah, it's 3 minutes before 10, so.
Cool.
Yep.
I think I'll just soften this edge a little bit with my lightest shade. Don't want to have any hard edges to deal with later on. And I don't mind that my transfer is going to show in those spots.
Mm-hmm.
And then I guess the last question to ask is this legible for when I paint again? Because I'm not really going to see the transfer lines I see now, probably. I'm not sure what I want to do with that, if I just want to take it out. Was that a sloppy stroke or not? I don't know. There's a darker hit just right there. And then here comes my lighter value. Now I'll take a dry brush.
Mm-hmm.
Come in at it from here to push that shape back. She looks like she needs to go to the dentist.
It's all relative.
It's all relative. All right. I think I'll stop there.
Okay.
Well, thank you everybody for coming. Really appreciate it. Thank you for being flexible with our flexible schedule and how things have changed.
Mm-hmm.
And just had a slow start and everything, but appreciate you being out here. And of course, if you want more, over here.
Actually, I think, I don't know, that one has like low battery, but yeah, okay, it's still there.
Still there?
That was good.
Hello.
Yeah.
So yeah, but if you want more Evolve content, check out our YouTube channel. We're on Instagram. And if you check out the links in the description of this live stream, you'll see stuff that's not even on YouTube. It's like even better, higher value stuff. So if you haven't seen it yet, I would just check out each one of those. Make sure you've seen them all. And yeah, you'll learn more about the Evolve program as well. which is what we're all about and why we're doing this. We want to make this accessible to you and share this with you, and also let you know that this is possible for you as well. And if you're passionate about making our dreams come to life, then let us know. Send us a message on Instagram or any way to contact us. start@evolveartists.com is an email you can reach us at. And or just watch any one of those videos if you're curious and learn more about what we do. So thank you, everybody. And if I don't finish this painting I might finish this painting on my own, and I will certainly post about it when I do finish it. Whether it's going to be streamed again, not sure, but I'll keep you posted about it when it happens. So thank you, everybody. And thank you, May, for running the live stream for us.
Of course.